One of the most underestimated thing is the ability to really understand ourselves. Growing up, we don't really focus on it a lot. We need to make space in our schools and in our families raising young kids to help them understand themselves better. Now, typically, the need to do that comes out of a time in your life when you're longing to feel something more deeper than what you're already feeling on a day-to-day basis. So this looks like, a lot of us going through our day-to-day jobs, not feeling satisfied, or just waking up, living our lives and hitting the bed and feeling like something's missing. And usually when this happens and you truly allow yourself to question what it is that you're doing every day is what marks the beginning of the awakening process. And that could mean a lot of internal churning. Now, according to our Vedic teachings, the first thing to do when we go through this is to follow a 3-step process about the knowledge of self and knowledge of the world and how those two interact. So we follow this 3-step process called Shravan, Manan, and Nididhyasan. So Shravan literally means to hear the teachings, the scriptures. So whether it's, loudly chanting a mantra or, reading any of our Vedic texts, or even listening to a podcast that helps you understand what is beyond our day-to-day lives is considered Shravan. So the more we do that, the more we create space for that knowledge to seep into our inner being, into the deepest parts of who we are. That's when the change starts to happen. Once you've heard, once you've gone through Shravan and you go through the next step, which is Manan, which is to contemplate or reflect, right? So we heard a lot about meditation. A lot of us do it. Some of us are new to it. But that is the process of thinking about what you just heard more profoundly, not just intellectual diarrhea. So going through the process of Manan and really focusing on understanding what it means to your life day to day. And the last step being Nididhyasan, which is to assimilate. How do you then take these teachings and make it a part of your life? Okay, and this is the part that excites me the most because I am so passionate about taking something that I've learned and making it very practical, from a day to day standpoint. So I'll give you an example. One of the things that I've been thinking about is, just taking the time to respond versus react to situations and people in my life. And I've been thinking about it a lot in the context of vairagya or detachment. It's something we read about a lot, to be detached, to not, let your emotions take over. But I've always wondered about the how. And I do my fair share of meditation and, I do a bit of japa or other spiritual practices. I do yoga as well. But something that I have created for myself, a bit of a framework, has helped me a lot. So this is how it goes. As soon as I get triggered by a person or a thing, I first tell myself not to take it personally. So that is the first step, is to step back from that feeling and say, okay, this is not a personal thing. This is just how a situation is unfolding or how someone is reacting to maybe what I said or something else that's happening in their lives. The second thing I do is think about what I'm going through or talk about what I'm going through to myself in third person. So essentially, when I step back and I just observe how I'm reacting or how my body is reacting, if it's giving me anxiety or making me nervous, I start talking about it or describing it to myself in third person. So I would say something like, oh, Shweta's not feeling comfortable with this conversation. She's feeling a bit anxious. she's feeling the butterflies in her stomach, whatever that could be. The minute I start describing about my own feelings in third person, it really changes the impact that that feeling has on me. It puts distance and space between the feeling and how I feel about it, or what it does to me, both on a mental and a physical level. So once I've done that, I am now set up to respond and not react. So then I pause and think about, okay, what would be the right action or step to take forward? And a lot of times, it involves giving myself and the situation or the person some space. A lot of times it involves being quiet and giving myself some time. So these three steps have helped me tremendously, but the only way I came up with it is because I decided to act on that feeling to live life differently, and got curious about everything that's out there that's talking about how we can truly be happy and better in our lives and in what we do every day, just showing up every day much better than you did the previous day.